So, Mike, if I were kind of to put myself in other people's shoes that haven't been sort of using innovative tools for work management, and you know where I'm at, I'm in email. I'm in
Mm-hmm.
email as a work management tool.
Yep.
So I can't imagine like a worse work management tool than an email inbox. But we've all been there and done it. I think it was a while ago where I was kind of depending on my inbox as my to-do list,
Right.
where, you have the task in Outlook, you have the task you can mark things as to do. But I
Yep.
was even depending on that email box to go down the list of things I needed to do that day. Why is that bad?
Oh, that's bad for a number of reasons. Because we've all been there, and
Yeah.
and to a certain extent, I still have to limit myself. This is a habit I've tried. I have to continually force limit myself to only go to my inbox a few times, maybe once an hour or something like that. One of the reasons I find that it's bad is because it takes you away from any kind of strategic focus. So you're not, from a task. We all work task all the time. In fact, one of the things that, just to digress for a second about one of the reasons we think this series is so important is there's been a lot of studies about work management. And since the 50s, when information workers outnumber blue collar or hands-on workers, 60-70% of the population now is information workers. The vast majority of that work now has become more project focused because we've automated things like inventory management and things like that. So task management, work management, project focused type work, things that are not defined by operations or that are already automated, are a vast majority of what us information workers and most workers are doing these days. So to that end, like I said, now we're back to the question you asked me, email. Why is it bad to manage from email? So one of the things that I find, if I let myself stay email centric, is that you're very reactionary, right? Whatever's at the top of the box that comes in, you're looking at it and you're saying, do I need to take action on that?
Yeah.
Or something comes in and there's something that's on your list that you've written down or you're managing in Planner or somewhere else that's a high priority item, but now you get distracted because this one piques you. And sometimes it piques you emotionally, right? It can be something that comes in from a colleague.
And
you're like, oh, I got to get on that right now, right? And
Yeah.
and it completely sidetracks you from what you're trying to do, strategically and the things that you have to get done. So
with the email, you're right. It's reactionary, right? You're going down the list and you're basically responding to other people's priorities.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It's not, those aren't necessarily the things you wanted to get done today.
Exactly.
They're other people's priorities. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You get that little alert that box coming down. You see something, like when I see something from you, Mike, I jump up and down. I just make sure that I got to answer that right away. Right. So
I got to be careful.
But you just said that I don't have to read your email, right?
That's not exactly what I said. Don't let me take you off task is what I said. If you got something you're working on for a customer.
Okay.
Right.
Anyway, so looking at that, I mean, like, what are some alternatives to email? And what are kind of some email strategies that you found have been effective?
Well, in the email strategies, like I said, number one is I try to limit my how often I'm checking the email.
Yeah.
So it's probably a couple times an hour that I go on, but it's always up. So if something I do feel I need to be involved in case there's some kind of customer emergency or something, and that little thing pops up and I see it. But I also try most of the time when I see those things come in, I don't respond to them immediately unless it is some kind of emergency, which is very rare, maybe once every couple of weeks or something. So that's one strategy. I think another is I do use the task within email to organize, and I'll mark things, flag them as high priorities. But I try to only do that with the things that are really important to make sure that I see it in that task list that's up there. So I'll know when I open up email, these are the things. When I am in that space, that's what I use.
Right.
As far as other things that I use Planner. I use my notes that I work from. And then, of course, we use Teams quite a lot, right? So there's an awful lot of communication that goes on in our company in Teams. Yeah. And so a lot of things.
Yeah,
and it's actually really helpful to centralize. More and more our work is being centralized in that environment. So, for example, you'll send me something and you'll do the @Mike, and it'll be something you want me to review or something like that in Teams. And all I have to do is click on it, and I'm right there, and I'm working in the artifact. So it's not like an email attachment that comes in. I open it, now it's locally in my machine. Now I got to go save it or send it back to you or something. I mean,
right.
It really makes that work management process much more streamlined. So
right.
And then with the fact that most of these or all of these Microsoft products now, pretty much the Office products, you can do the co-authoring and things like that. So sometimes I'll open up a document or something or a PowerPoint or something that you send me or somebody else sends me, and then I'll notice that you might be in there editing at the same time, and we can work on it at the same time. And for those who aren't familiar with co-authoring, we've been demoing and working this way back to the SharePoint days, 10 years ago when it first came out and started working.
Right.
This is a really important tip, though. If you haven't done it from a virtualization standpoint, or even if the person's sitting next to you and you're working in the same document, don't forward documents around. Don't do that.
Please stop doing that. Please stop forwarding documents around as attachments.
Yeah.
Making changes and then attaching the document with your changes back to the same loop. That's please stop doing that. It's like that. If you are still doing that, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, and that is, there's best practices and there's tips, but that's one that I'm with you. I feel very strongly about, and even to this day, if somebody sends me, if it's internal, and it almost never happens because everybody knows what I'm going to do. If they send me an attachment, I'll send it back to them and say, where's this posted? So, because we all work on these documents and these artifacts together. Put it somewhere and send me the link. Put it into Teams, put it in a file repository or SharePoint repository, whichever we have that's the appropriate place, and send it to me, and then we'll work on it. Because otherwise things get lost, right? You start chasing it down, and email hell is that repository that takes things away from a central place. Right. We can do all this stuff in a central place, and Teams really has become our go-to for doing all this work.